very humble. I think that if there is any single person to give credit for the progress on the West Africa capital market integration initiative, it is Mr. Oteh. Saying, this integration is important to us. It's February of 2010. And please, we all need to work on this together. And it hasn't stopped. I'm sure he did the same thing to us already. And for him to come and say to us, Nigeria is a pivot, and he knows that we have to work well. He's humble about it, but he hasn't been good. So please give him a big round of applause. I didn't want to forget to say this because it's something that I've always meant to publicly acknowledge. I'm glad to have this opportunity to do so. Now, let me do the job that I was given. I have to say that in addition to the movie, it is really a pleasure for me to deliver a keynote address at the 4th Capital Market Conference, particularly given the theme, West Africa Capital Market Integration, Challenges and Opportunities for Nigerian Businesses. I commend BusinessDay for coming up with this platform for the exchange of ideas on important issues that affect global economy. The Securities and Exchange Commission, as you know, being one that promotes knowledge, supports initiatives like the Capital Market Conference, particularly because of its aim to continue to build capacity. In the successful examples, we see compelling advantages in a single market for goods, services, and capital. On the other hand, the interconnectedness of countries in an integrated market raises the risk of contagion, where bad news is in one country quickly spreads to others and threatens the entire system. Overall, however, the benefits of integration far outweigh the costs, and this is my central message today. It therefore makes perfect economic sense for us in West Africa to push for integration, because it opens up a vista of opportunities for our country and the entire region. Apart from the opportunities, however, there are challenges to be surmounted, including gaps in infrastructure, technology, culture, regulatory regimes, and others. What usually determines the degree of success of any integration initiative is the approach to tackling these challenges. Let me take a few examples from other regions, but before that, let me just say that there are well-known benefits of economic integration. Economic integration is widely acknowledged as one of the greatest contributors to global economic growth. It is important because it does not only create larger markets and new trading opportunities, but also increases competition and competitiveness. Apart from the economic benefits, regional economic integration certainly plays a crucial role in promoting peace and stability within a region. It also increases the bargaining power of participating states, acting as a bloc in international negotiations. And if you've been following the discussions on the economic partnership agreement with the European Union from the African side, particularly the West African side, you understand why it is important to clearly have bargaining power and to act as a bloc. Let us look at the European example. The European Union is considered as the most advanced experiment in regional integration, having achieved a near-perfect economic integration since the 1990s. It is the largest market in the world, with combined population of over 500 million inhabitants and nominal GDP of about $17 trillion. The EU's approach to integration has been through a standardized system of laws and policies that apply across all member states, covering areas such as trade, technology, and agriculture. Since the beginning of the global financial crisis, the EU has focused on promoting financial integration through the Markets in Financial Instruments Directive, MiFID, which went into effect on the 1st of November 2007, now covers all the 28 EU member states, as well as Iceland, Norway, and Liechtenstein. It aims not only at full integration of European financial markets, but also increasing trade, transparency, competition, and consumer protection in investment services. It has been estimated that the implementation of MiFID will generate millions of additional trades annually. Let's look at East Asia. In East Asia, the approach has been to focus on harmonizing processes and instruments, as well as adapting shared technology. The Association of Southeast Asian Nations, ASEAN, has championed economic integration across its 10 member states, making up a large population of 600 million people, larger than the EU, with an aggregate GDP today of over $2.6 trillion. ASEAN aims to achieve a single market by 2015 and has facilitated and is continuing to facilitate free trade agreements with countries including China, the United States, Japan, South Korea, and the EU. Perhaps more interesting for us here is their attempt to integrate the financial markets across that region. The ASEAN Capital Market Forum leverages technology to link the 3 stock exchanges in Malaysia, Singapore, and Thailand, which make up over 70% of trades among the 7 ASEAN stock exchanges. Within the combined market of over 2,200 listed companies and a market capitalization of $1.4 trillion, they have successfully pushed for mutual recognition of disclosure standards, collective investment schemes, and anti-money laundering provisions. Let us move back home to Africa. Here in Africa, we have a number of good examples to learn from as we push for greater economic integration within our region. The East Africa community, which was revived only in the year 2000, has made significant inroads, surpassing the level of integration we have achieved in West Africa. They already have a common market for goods, labor, and capital. They have a customs union, implemented a common external tariff, and have expanded free trade areas through agreements with the SADC region, the Southern African Development Community, and COMESA, the common market for Eastern and Southern Africa. Even more commendable is the work that the East African Securities Regulators Authorities have done through information sharing, mutual assistance, and cooperation. We have a lot to learn from our Francophone West African colleagues, or Francophone West African and Central African colleagues. Many of you know of their harmonized body of business laws under l'Organisation pour la Modernisation en Afrique du droit des affaires, OHADA, covering 17 African countries, some of them within Central and others in West Africa, have gone steps ahead to set up a long-standing monetary union whose successes and challenges many have learned from. The Union Économique Monétaire de l'Ouest Arunma, which has belonged to the Communauté Financière en Afrique CFA, has established a common accounting system, conducts periodic reviews of macroeconomic policies based on established convergence criteria, a common legal and regulatory framework for the banking system. As you know, they also have a well-established stock exchange, the Bourse Régionale de Valeurs Mobilières (BRVM). Our region covers a landmass of over 5 million square kilometers, comprising 16 countries and one overseas territory, the British St. Helena. These economies, with the exception of Nigeria, are relatively small and therefore lack the economies of scale needed to be competitive. However, if we come together to establish a single market, it will not only cover a landmass of over 5 million square kilometers, it will boast of a population of more than 340 million people, a third of Africa's population, and of course it will have a GDP of $640 billion. To put this in perspective, it will be a market that covers a much larger landmass than the 28-member European Union states, with almost as many people as the United States of America. More importantly, West African demographics are very attractive. While Africa is fondly called the world's youngest continent, West Africa is the continent's youngest region, with 2/3 of the population under the age of 26. According to the United Nations, by 2050, West Africa will host more people than North Africa and almost as many people as the whole of Latin America, which has about 720 million inhabitants. In addition to West Africa's vast resource potential, the region is naturally renowned, as we all know. Let me just cite a few examples. Guinea has the world's largest bauxite resources. Niger is among the top 10 uranium producers. Ghana and Mali are major gold producing countries, while Nigeria is among the largest oil producers and of course the 4th largest natural gas exporter. West Africa, as you know, accounts for 70% of the global cocoa production. So the opportunities are enormous. And I'm excited not just about the opportunity for integration today, but the potential for us to harness all of these sectors that I referred to in the examples I've given. Certainly businesses across the region stand to benefit a lot more from these resources and market size if the entire region were integrated into a common market that allows for uninhibited movement of people, goods, services, and capital. ECOWAS, the economic community of West African states, has done a lot to push this agenda with the actualization of the ECOWAS passport that eases movement of persons. Work is ongoing in improving infrastructure, which will certainly move or help the movement of goods as well as people. However, progress has been very slow with regard to the common external tariff, which is billed to come into operation soon. I hope that our success on capital market integration will serve to boost political will needed for our integration efforts across other areas. As you all know, there are presently 3 functional exchanges in West Africa, the largest being the Nigerian Stock Exchange, or should I say 5 functional exchanges, or 6 functional exchanges, given that we have FMDQ, NESD, as well as the Nigerian Commodity Exchange. But talking about stocks and securities more specifically, the Nigerian Stock Exchange, as you know, has 190 listed companies with a market cap of over $80 billion. The Ghanaian Stock Exchange has about $25 billion of market cap, and the Bourse Millionnaire de Valeur Mobilier (BRVM) has a market cap of about $12 billion. Sierra Leone has an exchange which has one listed stock and not enough trading activity. But last in May, when I met the central bank governor, who was a former colleague at the government, he really expressed keen interest in getting greater support so that they can do more. And I think that the integration efforts are an opportunity to boost any of our exchanges. Real estate investment trusts, which can boost the housing sector, which is transformational for the West African region, is still very small. Non-interest capital market products like Sukuk is barely existent. It's operating in our market. Liquidity, of course, is such a huge challenge, because today Nigeria at best will do $30 million per day, or all of the exchanges together, in fact. So there's still a lot that needs to be done. I believe that integration will help us grow as individual markets, but also grow collectively as a region. Integrating our capital markets will not only produce a more formidable competitor to other emerging markets, it will help us tackle the challenges of depth, breadth, and liquidity. It will also prove vitally important for our people. Retail investors in Cote d'Ivoire can access Nigerian mutual funds. Businesses in Ghana can tap capital from Senegalese institutional investors, and companies across the region can benefit from listing on the Nigerian Stock Exchange. In addition to these benefits, integration could usher in a wave of product innovation as expertise is utilized across the region to churn out innovative products for different categories of businesses and investors, particularly that relate to the issues that are of concern to us in the region. What should be our approach to capital market integration? Our approach to the integration of West African capital markets should really rely on best practice in terms of cooperation. As a member of the International Organization of Securities Commissions, both ourselves, Ghana, and the UMA are members of the global body of securities regulators that oversee 95% of global capital markets. We have prioritized cross-border cooperation, mutual assistance, and sharing of information, while abiding by the IOSCO principles of securities regulation. We seek to harmonize the regulatory regimes for issuance, registration, and trading of securities. We believe that it will help avoid mistakes while promoting real ownership among those who will be managing the emerging West African capital market. We're delighted with the progress that WACMIC has made so far and hope that the target of full integration by the end of 2015 will be met. We're in the phase 1 of integration, in which a resolution has already been passed for the adoption of the sponsored access framework across member states. Brokers will be able to trade securities from any part of the region through local brokers that they partner with in those jurisdictions. The next phase will involve qualified West African brokers who get a common, mutually recognized passport to deal in securities throughout the region. The final phase, to be attained by the end of next year, would entail all West African exchanges being linked in a virtual West African securities market, in which issuers will be able to raise capital across the region, and investors can trade in securities through their brokers, irrespective of their country of residence. What are the opportunities and challenges that Nigerian companies may face? One of the major challenges Nigerian businesses will have to deal with in an integrated market is the issue of competitiveness. Long years of infrastructure deficit raises the cost of operations and reduces relative competitiveness of our companies. I believe they could face stiff competition from counterparts in other parts of the region for labor, market share, as well as capital. Our businesses must become more innovative to conquer new markets and extend their brands to them to regain advantage. As the region strives to overcome infrastructure deficit linking its various parts, Nigerian businesses must brace up for the challenge and prepare themselves to expand frontiers and access new markets. Whether you're a printing press, a consumer goods manufacturer, a translation firm, an investment bank, opportunities do abound for your business in an integrated market. We're fortunate to be in Nigeria where our businesses already benefit from the economies of scale that others around the region are clamoring for. It behoves of you then, our entrepreneurs and captains of industry, to lead the way and set the pace for the rest to follow. To see the future that an integrated West African market portends for Nigeria, look no further than Germany within the EU. Germany, being Europe's largest economy, has benefited from greater competitiveness, lower trade costs, greater investments, and increased consumption. This has been estimated to contribute at least 0.5% to GDP growth annually and massive current account surpluses for Germany. Considering the potential integration holds, Nigeria should be intimately involved with this process. Within the capital markets, Nigeria still occupies, as Mr. Fizia mentioned, a strategic position, hosting the most advanced stock and bond markets and the most innovative in the region. Businesses from other countries will find listing in Nigeria a very good opportunity to enhance their brands and attract more capital. But this also implies that they are willing to abide by the highest standards of corporate governance and best practice. Let me conclude by saying that on our part, as regulators, we shall continue to push for harmonization of all processes, regimes, and instruments to make the environment as adaptable as possible and ensure compliance costs are minimal. I hope that our discussions here will illuminate everyone in attendance and challenge us to work much harder for the actualization of this stream. I strongly believe that an integrated West African capital market will catalyze the attainment of overall regional economic integration, not only in our region, but also in the whole of Africa. But more importantly, I believe integration will be critical to enabling our region tackle the challenges of inclusive growth and insecurity by creating a greater business environment to our people. And if the way that West Africans react to, and so many of my friends have called me with respect to Nigeria making it to being amongst the top 16 in terms of the World Cup, if we can just take that as the example, let us share our joys, let us share our sorrows. If we take what we do and how we respond to the World Cup as West Africans, and we use that, I'm sure we'll be successful with integration for the capital markets and integration for West Africa. Thank you.